All right, let's jump right into one of those facts that just sounds totally made up, but I promise you it's 100% true. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. I know, it sounds nuts, right? But it's actually a perfect window into the absolutely wild world of evolution. So, how is that even possible? I mean, really. To get to the bottom of it, we're going to have to break it down. We'll look at the actual numbers, figure out why they have those massive eyes, see what's going on with that tiny brain, and what the whole thing tells us about the game of survival. Okay, so let me just ask you straight up. Which one's bigger on an ostrich, its eye or its brain? It totally feels like a trick question, doesn't it? Well, let's check out the official way in. First up, the eye. A single ostrich eye clocks in at around 47 grams. I mean, that is a heavyweight champion in the world of eyeballs on land animals, for sure. And the brain, it comes in at just around 42 grams. So yep, there you have it. The numbers do not lie. A single eye is actually heavier and bigger than the ostrich's entire brain. Wild. To give you a better picture, each one of those eyes is about the size of a billiard bowl. Just imagine that. They take up so much space inside the skull, there's just not a whole lot of room left for anything else. Okay, so this begs the obvious question. Why? I mean, evolution doesn't usually do things just for fun. So why on earth did the ostrich go all in on its eyesight? Well, the answer is all about where it lives. Think about it. You're a giant bird, you can't fly, and you live on the wide open African savanna. Your best defense is definitely not hiding. It's seeing danger, like a lion, coming from a long, long way off. And these eyes aren't just big, they're these perfectly tuned survival machines. Their vision is so incredible, they can spot a predator way before any other animals can. This basically turns the ostrich into an unwitting bodyguard for entire herds of zebras and antelopes. And to protect these super important assets, they've got these long eyelashes to keep out dust and sand, and get this, a third see-through eyelid that sweeps across like a windshield wiper to keep the eye clean. How cool is that? Okay, so we've established the eyes are amazing, but what's the deal with the brain? Is it just, underdeveloped? Well, not exactly. It's probably more accurate to say it's specialized for something completely different. And here you go. This is what the brain actually looks like. This one picture tells you everything you need to know about an ostrich's priorities. See that smooth part up top? That's the cerebrum, the part for complex thinking. Now look at that super grooved, wrinkly section below it. That's the cerebellum, which is all about movement. The difference is, wow, it's pretty striking, right? So let's really break that down. The cerebrum, the thinking part, it's pretty simple. It's smooth with a super thin layer of gray matter. But the cerebellum, the movement center, that thing is huge and complex by comparison. It's packed with all these little folds, just maximizing its surface area. This part of the brain is all about coordinating motor skills, balance, posture. It's a brain built for doing, not for thinking. And what exactly is that superpowered cerebellum controlling? This, a top speed of 45 miles per hour. I mean, when your main survival tactic is to just flat out outrun everything, you need a brain that can perfectly coordinate those powerful legs. That's the ostrich's go-to defense mechanism in action. So what we're looking at here, this perfect balance between giant eyes and a brain built for speed, is a textbook example of a really key concept in biology, the evolutionary trade-off. It's called an evolutionary trade-off, and it's pretty simple. You can't have it all. Just think of the skull as a box with a fixed amount of space inside. For the ostrich, evolution basically made a bet. It gambled that putting more of that limited space into massive, powerful eyes would give it a better shot at survival than investing that same space in a bigger, more complex thinking brain. And when you look at the data, this trade-off becomes crystal clear. An ostrich's brain makes up a teeny tiny 0.015% of its total body weight. Now compare that to, say, a Pekin duck. Its brain-to-body ratio is 0.261%. So doing the math, that means relative to its size, the duck has a brain that's 17 times larger than the ostrich's. That's just a huge difference. And really, the whole thing is summed up perfectly by scientist Emily Robinson, who said, in evolution, it must have been more successful to have a bigger eye than a bigger brain. It's that simple. In the brutal math of survival, better eyesight meant you saw the predator, you lived, and you got to pass on your big eye genes. Sight just won out over smarts. Now, it's really easy to hear all this and just fall back on that old stereotype of being bird-brained. But honestly, that's completely missing the point. This isn't a story about being dumb, it's a story of incredible, high-stakes specialization. Of course, there are some, let's call them side effects to having a less developed cerebrum. Ostriches are kind of famous for swallowing things they really shouldn't. People have found some crazy stuff in their stomachs: bicycle valves, alarm clocks, even small bottles. They also swallow stones on purpose to help grind up their food, and sometimes they'll have up to 3 kilograms of rocks just hanging out in their stomach. But again, this isn't stupidity, it's specialization. This is a creature that has been perfectly sculpted by its environment to be an absolute master of one thing: staying alive through amazing eyesight and pure speed. The brain is exactly as big as it needs to be to run that highly successful biological machine. And just how successful is this strategy? Well, the ancestors of today's ostrich have been running away from predators on this planet for something like 120 million years. You really can't argue with that kind of track record. So the ostrich teaches us a pretty cool lesson, right? What looks like a weird or even kind of funny feature is often a super finely tuned tool for survival. It really makes you wonder, what other bizarre traits out there in the animal kingdom aren't weaknesses at all, but are actually superpowers in disguise?